because my next guest just testified before a federal grand jury. He says he was in possession of a trove of digital evidence from Diddy's freak-offs and parties. His name is Courtney Burgess, and he says a friend gave him 11 flash drives that belonged to the late Kim Porter. And if you follow this story, you'll know that Kim Porter is Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of 4 of his kids. On those drives, the witness says 8 videos featured 8 celebrities at Diddy freak-offs or parties, and that 6 were males, 2 were females.
Can you talk about what you saw on these flash drives?
Of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
You guys, gather around. The tapes are out. Courtney Borges is naming names, and to be honest, I haven't recovered from what he said about J-Lo. Diddy's team is in full panic mode, begging judges to gag Courtney before he drops even more dirt. Meanwhile, Diddy's family is pulling every PR stunt that they can muster on his birthday, trying to save face, but let's be real, the man is literally down and out at this point. Imagine the disgrace of going from dining with kings to nibbling on some overcooked, unseasoned piece of chicken in jail. For someone who was once a role model to many, it is truly embarrassing. As you can see, there is so much to catch up on, love, so without any further ado, let's get right into one of the darkest things I've ever covered.
We have a very special guest today, Courtney B. And Courtney B is a entertainment manager, and he has quite a resume. Courtney, you want to give us a little bit of rundown of some of the artists you've worked with in the past?
For years, everyone knew him as this smooth, party-throwing, big boss type, but the uglier side has come out to haunt Diddy. Courtney Borges just testified before a federal grand jury, and what he revealed is disturbing on a whole new level. Apparently, this guy has 11 flash drives full of explicit footage from Diddy's so-called freak-offs that involve celebrities, but here's where things started getting a twist. You see, for the longest time, people have blamed these celebs for covering for Diddy, but according to Courtney's shocking revelation, not only were these celebs filmed without their consent, but they had also been unknowingly intoxicated. So no, it was not some harmless fun. We are talking about situations where people were totally vulnerable, with some celebrities so out of it that they didn't even know what was happening. Y'all, Courtney is saying that on these tapes, people are unconscious and look completely dazed, and yet the cameras are still rolling. Courtney said that all 8 people in the tapes appeared to be victimized. Let that sink in. Was supposedly in a vulnerable state.
Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
But it gets even darker. Courtney hinted that some of the footage also includes undercover filming in places where people would expect total privacy. Like, imagine going to use the bathroom and not knowing a hidden camera is rolling. It is beyond messed up, and it is terrifying to think that someone would violate people and then violate their privacy like this.
Were there any cameras in places where you'd assume privacy, like bathrooms?
Well, I've never been in this house, but the picture, yes. Yes. That's where it took place, yeah.
I told y'all, this is one for the books. It is next level disturbing. Imagine thinking you're at an exclusive party only to find out later that you were secretly filmed, and now there are tapes of you out there in someone else's hands. The weird part, Diddy has been caught bragging on social media before about how intense his parties are. There's this one video clip from an old party where Diddy's grinning ear to ear saying, "This is what happens when you come to my parties," as some guy is sprawled out on the floor, totally passed out, and could easily be suffocating. Yep, that's the kind of stuff that Diddy was proud of, y'all. The audacity is unreal.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man.
It's so unfortunate.
You gotta pull back though, so they can see. That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look. Would you?
There's a drink on his head.
And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He is a actual DJs aren't supposed to pass out, but When they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to them. I put him to sleep.
Next day, right?
You put the drink on his head.
There you go. There it is.
Damn.
Let's back it up a little bit here, y'all, before we get ahead of ourselves. Everyone has been asking who this Borges guy is and how he acquired these damning videos. Turns out Courtney Borges isn't just some random guy throwing accusations around, and this is where things get thicker. Turns out this man has been in the industry for 35 years, working with legends like Nelly and Tupac. He is not here for the clout. He knows his stuff and has personal history with Diddy. And let me tell you, Courtney's got some deep connections. This man is the godson of Frank Lucas. Yep, the infamous drug lord. And guess who else was tight with Frank? Diddy's father, Melvin. I mean, this beef between Courtney and Diddy goes back generations. We are not just talking about industry drama, we're talking about decades of buried secrets coming to light. Apparently, back in the day, Diddy's father and Frank were involved in some serious business. And when Diddy's father passed away, Courtney says Frank used to point Diddy out like, oh, that's Melvin's son. They all know each other, y'all, family ties and everything. But whatever respect might have been there was right out the window because Courtney isn't holding back now. He is out here saying he has seen Diddy go from the ambitious kid to, and I quote, Lucifer. That is how disgusted he is with who Diddy has become, and honestly, I'm starting to see why. So what is on these tapes, you ask? Courtney is saying that one of the 11 footage includes 8 celebrities, 6 men, and 2 women who were allegedly victims at these parties, with at least 2 of the men being underage at the time. And it doesn't stop there. Courtney claims that all of these celebrities were extremely under the influence of something, making them unable to fully understand what was happening around them. These tapes supposedly capture moments where people were too out of it to even know that they were being filmed. Now, as if this whole situation wasn't twisted enough, another YouTuber named Too Strong caught on an interview where Courtney supposedly named some celebrities on the tapes. And y'all, let me tell you, it is not just random names. These are big players in Hollywood and the music industry, people you would never imagine. We're talking about footage with A-list names from J-Lo, who allegedly got caught on camera using certain self-pleasuring items, to Kevin Hart in situations where he seemed completely out of it. And then there's LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and even Will Smith's son. My heart actually sank when I heard about LeBron James, but y'all, the list goes on, and the stories just keep getting worse. Courtney's out here describing scenes where some of the biggest names in Hollywood were doing things you could never imagine, and honestly, I do not think Hollywood is ready for this kind of exposure.
I seen J-Lo jabbing herself with a dip or some type of object. I seen one had Game the rapper walked around Diddy at a party, and Justin had to be no more than 15 or 16. Could have been 16, he was saying happy birthday. And the bottle was in his hand, with nobody drink out of it, but he gave it to Justin. When Justin drunk it, he was gone. Like,
is that the one when he dropped down to his knees to drink it first, like he was doing some kind of...
Right.
What was up with the dropping down to the knees? Was that a ritual or just...
My thoughts, I don't know what was in the bottle, but I believe it probably could have been GHB. That's a tranquilizer. You know, if you drink that, I could say go to the bank and withdraw your money out. You go to the bank and withdraw your money out.
Right, you under my control now.
No wonder Hollywood is terrified. Courtney says they are panicking, trying to buy their way out of this situation, throwing money around to keep their names out of it. He says the entire industry is on fire because if these tapes come out, it is over. And let's be real, they should be worried. Courtney's testimony is bringing out a whole new level of skeletons from Hollywood's closet, and these aren't the kinds of things you can just brush under the rug. So, in a nutshell, these tapes feature some well-known names in compromising situations, and it's not the type of footage anyone would want out there. Courtney said the videos were so disgusting that he couldn't even make it through to the end. He literally said he had to look away when it came to certain scenes. It is that bad.
Until someone to look at it. Then I see all the parties, all the stuff. I didn't watch too much of it because 2 men having 3 and I ain't into watching men having So I was watching a man have sex.
So you actually had the physical drives.
Yes.
And you got them from who?
And just so you know, this isn't some little back and forth gossip. This is serious enough that federal marshals got involved. Yeah, federal authorities who were so intrigued by Courtney's claims that they actually went to his multiple residences to serve him a subpoena. And while Courtney says he wasn't technically raided, the fact that they even went to these lengths shows just how serious they're taking this. I mean, the feds don't just get involved unless there is some serious stuff on the table.
First, your home was raided by federal authorities, and I assume it is because of this material. Is that true?
I wouldn't say that. They just went to every one of them looking for me. They said, the paperwork said the 24th, that I had to be there the 28th, and then it was the 27th. I told them, I can't make it there, that's tomorrow. So I don't know. From the look of it, it was 4 days.
And I want to be specific. When we talk about a raid, we're talking about when a subpoena is served for documents, a search warrant or an arrest warrant. In this situation, Mr. Burgess was not in any way, shape, or form had a search warrant or an arrest warrant issued for him. It was just them serving a subpoena. So when the federal government needs to serve a subpoena, they use the Marshal Service to come to all of your residences if you have more than one residence.
Oh, and as if that wasn't enough, Courtney also had something else, an alleged manuscript from none other than Kim Porter, Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his 3 kids. Courtney mentions that Kim Porter was involved in trying to get some sort of justice. According to Courtney, Kim and Cassie, yes, the same Cassie who had this agreement that they would do something about Diddy's behavior, Cassie apparently vowed to get justice for Kim, who had allegedly seen and experienced some of Diddy's darkest sides. Apparently, Kim kept journals that painted a very different picture of Diddy than the one that we see on TV. And according to Borges, her writings are beyond incriminating. In fact, he says that there's a story in the manuscript that reads, "If something happens to me, I want this story to come out." It makes people wonder what Kim knew and why she was so desperate to get this story out. She must have seen things that no one else did, and if this is true, it is no wonder Kim wanted out and why her memoir is so highly guarded.
But he gave it to Justin. When Justin drunk it, he was gone.
Is that the one when he dropped down to his knees to drink it first, like he was doing some kind of...
Right.
What was up with the dropping down to the knees? Was that a ritual or just...
My thoughts, I don't know what was in the bottle, but I believe it probably could have been GHB. That's a tranquilizer. You know, if you drink that, I could say go to the bank and withdraw your money out. You go to the bank and withdraw your money out.
Right, you under my control now. So is that the same stuff that was in that baby oil stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. See, everybody think that wasn't a thing. That was something that you squared on somebody who you want to take control. But it was for sale. You're talking about 1,000 bottles, that's at least almost 10 kilos. You know what I'm saying? That's 10 kilos, and you don't got to put a cap. All you need is a cap in the drink. They go on a couple of squirts on the body, it dissolve into your body. It's like, what's that for? Spanish fly, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Like an advancement.
Anyways, going by Courtney words, Kim apparently left the manuscript in trusted hands, knowing that someday people would need to hear her side of the story. It's like something straight out of a thriller movie, y'all, but sadly, this isn't fiction. And Kim isn't the only one. Cassie, J-Lo, and others reportedly endured years of manipulation, all while Diddy lived his life on top, unbothered and untouchable until now. Remember the whole Kim situation recently got even shadier. Diddy's kids apparently tried to say that this memoir was fake and even released a statement. According to them, someone else pieced it together to make it look like it was Kim's words, but Borges swears that it is the real deal. He says he received the manuscript directly from someone close to Kim and that the person assured him it was authentic.
What you received on the flash drives, was it the completed book or was it notes from Kim Porter that later were made into a book?
It was completed. It's only 60,
Okay.
only about 54 pages.
Sure, and in the beginning, it says, Kim made me promise that if something happened to her, I would make sure this book became public to the world. The way Sean moved, I knew that was a promise I would have to fulfill. Kim knew I was a woman of my word, and this book was going to make it to print. So it sounds like it is a woman who wrote up the notes from Kim Porter. Does that sound accurate?
It's how you read it, yes. I haven't even read the book.
Do you know who the woman is?
No.
And to be clear, he received it in its complete form. So I think just to make sure we have some clarity here, the manuscript that Mr. Burgess received was already in its complete form. It's not that he edited it or changed anything.
Got it.
He did give it to someone
Makes
else
sense.
who then edited it, but that's not how he received it.
Honestly, at this point, who even knows what's true? But as things currently stand, this manuscript could blow the lid off of Diddy's whole image. Speaking of Diddy's kids, things keep getting darker and darker, y'all. Not only was Diddy doing the most with guests, Courtney said he even involved his sons. He even talks about a specific moment with Justin, Diddy's son, where Justin was basically forced into some weird birthday ritual, chugging a drink that Courtney hints might have been spiked with something. The way that he describes it, Justin was totally out of it afterward, and then he drops this chilling line. I think it was GHP. Now, if you know, you know. GHP isn't something you mess with. It is known for taking people out of their right minds, practically turning them into puppets. And Courtney saying Diddy was using this to control people? It is horrifying.
This will be exposed.
I mean, when I walk in, I definitely take pride in being the originator of the preparation of the little things that I personally like. A lot of ladies, they just, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
And while we're still on Justin, could it be that Diddy's sons protected him so much because he got them into this so long ago that they don't even realize they're messed up? And now, to the infamous baby oil. Courtney dives into some really dark stuff here. According to him, Diddy was allegedly using this baby oil stuff to control people. Courtney explains that it's not just for, well, you know what, but apparently this concoction was laced with something that, when it seeps into your skin, it gives you this kind of out-of-body experience, making you easily influenced. He describes it as even stronger than some of the stuff you'd expect at a wild party. Clearly, Diddy wasn't just throwing parties, he was practically setting up some sort of twisted stage. Not only that, Courtney added that the baby oil was kept in ridiculous quantities, almost like it was a special potion Diddy was concocting to keep his guests under his control. This was actually confirmed during Diddy's arrest when he was found in possession of over 1,000 bottles of the said oil. But we never knew that even those were Diddy's weapons. According to Courtney, the substances added to the oils, it was enough to make anyone who came into contact with it practically lose their sense of reality. It is beyond creepy. At this point, some of these things don't even sound as though they happen in real life. We're out here thinking Hollywood parties are glamorous, but this is something out of a nightmare. And if you think that's as dark as it gets, you'd be wrong. Courtney also mentioned something about Diddy's casting couch, but he doesn't mean it in the regular Hollywood way. He's implying that people literally had to sit on Diddy's lap to get his approval for projects. Y'all, I can't even imagine having that much power and using it in the creepiest way possible. Courtney even brings up that Diddy had, well, let's just call them accessories on display, and it's clear he's not talking about innocent props, which would be used during the freak-offs. Remember Kim Porter's controversial manuscripts? Courtney said Kim also talked about Diddy's casting couch. Apparently Diddy's director's chair isn't just a chair, it's got all kinds of dark meanings behind it. If you weren't sitting right, you weren't getting anywhere in the industry, according to Courtney. And this manuscript, filled with Kim's alleged experiences and revelations about Diddy's true nature, is basically a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. But there's more, y'all. It keeps getting worse. Diddy's lawyers are in a full-on scramble following Courtney Borges' latest bombshell, to the point that instead of fighting for Diddy's bail like they planned, they're out here running to the judge begging for a gag order to shut Courtney up. So instead of focusing on getting Diddy out on bail, his legal team is trying to keep the world from hearing any more of what Courtney has to say. They're pressing for gag orders, trying to find out who leaked the info about the tapes, and doing everything they can to slow down this case. They even want to know how the authorities were able to raid Diddy's homes. But here's the thing, the prosecution is just doing its job. If there's incriminating evidence, they are not going to sit back and let it slide just because Diddy is famous. The truth is, Diddy's lawyers know these flash drives are a problem, and they're trying everything to keep Courtney quiet. But here's the thing, Courtney isn't the reason that Diddy is in jail. He is just exposing what has been hidden. If you ask me, Diddy should probably look at Cassie if he's searching for someone to blame. Cassie was the one who sparked this whole mess by filing her own lawsuit and demanding justice. Once she got her payout, it was like she dropped a bomb and walked away, letting the fallout handle itself. Cassie was the spark, but Courtney's the wildfire that's taken over, leaving Diddy and his team scrambling to put it out. Not only that, as all of this is unraveling, Diddy is losing his grip on everything he once controlled. His Miami key has been revoked, his lawyers are running around in circles, and more people are coming forward with details that just do not sit right. People are talking, and let me tell you, it is bad. Some of it might be rumors, sure, but a lot of it looks like it's backed by real evidence, especially when it comes from sources like the tapes Courtney has. It's like for years Diddy thought he could do whatever he wanted, but now the walls are closing in. You see, the thing is, people are super mad that Diddy did a lot of stuff to adults without their consent. But when you're allegedly involving kids, nah, that is where the line is drawn. Diddy can keep trying to control the narrative, but his power is slipping fast. I mean, if you were innocent, would you really be begging the judge to gag people from talking? Seems pretty desperate if you ask me. Now, here's where it gets even more twisted. According to Courtney, a lot of these celebrities knew what was happening but kept quiet out of shame or fear for their careers. Well, Hollywood is a tough place to stand up in, but when you've got situations involving staying silent means that you are part of the problem. If any of these celebs were truly they need to come forward, career or not. Also, people are wondering why they keep going back to those parties, even if it's true that at some point they were drugged and all. Because at this point, the whole industry's reputation is on the line. Honestly, Diddy has got bigger things to worry about than Courtney talking. His entire empire is crumbling, and he knows it. I mean, this man had it all: wealth, fame, connections, and look what he's done with it. But now that his money is drying up, his high-powered lawyers aren't going to stick around for loyalty's sake. They'll be gone the moment those checks stop clearing. For someone who spent decades building up this image of wealth, power, and influence, this downfall has got to hurt. But honestly, it is about time. People have been whispering about Diddy's shady side for years, and so if this testimony holds up, he might be getting just what he deserves. As for Diddy, well, it's not looking good. Not only has he lost any respect he might have had left, but now he's scrambling as these horrifying details come to light. It's like he took every ounce of power and success he had and used it to create his own twisted playground. If this trial actually brings out everything Courtney claims, Diddy's empire is going to collapse. And honestly, it is about time. So what do y'all think? Do you believe Courtney's testimony, or do you think Diddy's team will find a way to wiggle out of this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're still as shocked as I am about J-Lo being in those infamous videos, wait until you hear how Diddy almost blew his career and got her locked up back in the day when they were still dating. Trust me, my eyebrows were raised and my mouth agape the entire time I was covering that video. And y'all need to watch it because that story is messed up.